Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ricky, also known as the Pokey Senpai. I'm here today to show you my team for the VBA Draft. The VBA Draft is a draft league where you draft a team of Pokemon, I believe it's 11 in total, based on a tier list set by the staff of the VBA. Currently, there are 5 tiers. There's a Gigantamax tier, a tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 3, and a tier 4. You can see a number under each tier. Those are how much these Pokemon are worth towards your free slots. You get 1 Gigantamax slot, 1 tier 1 slot, 2 tier 2 slots, 2 tier 3 slots, and 2 tier 4 slots, as well as 4 free slots. The 4 free slots have to add up to 250 points total, and you have to have 4 Pokemon. So you can't just pick two tier 1s and then a tier 3. It has to be, they have to add up to 250 total. You can use less points than 250, but why would you ever do that? My draft went really well. The draft happened a little while ago. I ended up drafting from 16th place, so I was last pick out of the 16 total teams. That meant I had the 16th pick, and since this is a snake draft, I also had the 17th pick as well. That put me in an advantageous situation that I was able to pick 2-star Pokemon that worked really well together. And I didn't just do it once, I did it twice during the draft. The current tier list looks a little bit like this. Anything highlighted in red was already picked. But my 16th and 17th pick of the draft went to Regigigas and Weezing, Galarian Weezing. They were both really solid Pokemon in regular Series 7 VGC. That's the kind of the rule set we're playing under right now. It's Series 7 in a way, but we're drafting from the pool of Series 7 Pokemon. My picks were Regigigas and Weezing, with the following picks being Articuno and Celesteela. I had other plans for Tier 1 picks. I didn't want to give up a lot of the Tier 1s to other players. I wanted to have kind of like my star team in the beginning. I was going for Landorus. It did get picked first, though, which is fine. So I settled for Celesteela. And to be honest, looking back at it in retrospect, Celesteela ended up being better for the team than Landorus, only because Celesteela walls Metagross, while Landorus cannot. Looking at the draft a little closer, my team at the moment is Dreadnought, Articuno, Celesteela, Regigigas, Hydreigon, Galarian Weezing, Luxray, Pelipper, Cinccino, Thwackey, and Wigglytuff. I feel like out of everybody in the 16, out of the 16 teams that drafted, I would count myself among the top 3 that picked basically the strongest teams. There was another team that picked a strong Trick Room core, and then there was a really good Sunny Day team as well that I feel like had a really good synergy. But that's not to discount any of the other teams. I'm sure they have plenty of top tier strategies coming along their way, from Perish Trap to their own Trick Room teams to Weather Wars. I saw a Terrain team that looked pretty scary. But with that being the case, that's exactly why I drafted the way I did. Weezing shuts down a lot of those things, and Regigigas just piggybacks off of Weezing. So that was my whole purpose for this draft, and I feel like I'm going to make it really far, do really well. To go into a little bit of detail, I'm gonna go down the list here and give a really quick overview of each Pokemon. Dreadnought I drafted at the same time as Pelipper. That was my secondary star pick Since my picks were in unison, I felt like the best thing I could do were to pick two Pokemon that worked well together. They went a little later in the draft, to be honest. I think they were like after I already picked up Hydreigon and Luxray. But Pelipper and Dreadnought are going to be my secondary core when I feel like Regigigas and Weezing aren't the way to go for that battle. The reason why I say that is because Dreadnought has Swift Swim, Pelipper has its Rain Dish. Dreadnought is going to be a really solid Pokemon that's going to do a decent amount of damage, have a decent amount of speed. My prerequisites for bringing them, though, is I'm trying not to have a Weather War with someone. I can't see a Trick Room Setter if I see one of those. Pelipper and Dreadnought is very bad against those. I'd rather bring Regigigas and Weezing at that point. Dreadnought himself has a water move that causes Stealth Rocks to appear on the field. They're really good against the likes of like Charizard, things like that. They're not the biggest deal. I don't have to use them right away. But Dreadnought is a really solid backup pick just in case I don't want to use Regigigas for some reason. Maybe they have a lot of fighting type Pokemon and it's best to leave them in the back. Going down, we have our tier 1 picks. We have 3 of them. We have Articuno, Celesteela, and Regigigas. Each one of them have their own individual things about them that make them essential to the team. Most of the time, I'm going to be using all 3 of them in my teams. Articuno with his competitive boost prevents Landorus from running amok on me. There's also various max moves that lower my stats that Articuno benefits from. And Articuno also has some really decent defensive stats. 90, 85, and 100, aren't the worst. It'll survive some attacks. I have plenty of different options with it. I could run it offensively. I could run it defensively as a support Pokemon. I could run it with the intention of maxing it. A lot of the Pokemon on this list I can max, and they can become the main focal point of maxing. Actually, it's the first 4. So Dreadnought, Articuno, Celesteela, and Regigigas are all good Dynamaxing options. Next up is Celesteela. Celesteela is my tank. She takes the role of pulling damage from my other Pokemon. Like if something Fairy aims at Hydreigon, a quick switch into Celesteela puts me in a decent spot. Especially since she'll trump the Steel type, the Fairy type won't take much damage from it, and then cause her own switch from the opposing side while she sets up Leech Seed and just ingrains herself into the battle. Regigigas is my last one. He is the power hitting Pokemon. There is not a lot that can take Regigigas' attacks. Which is great, honestly. And he also has that flex position where I can change out his attacks. So he has so many options, Zen Headbutt, Ice Punch, High Horsepower, Stone Edge. Just the list goes on and on for how many different physical attacks Regigigas learns to hit off that massive 160 base attack. Its slow start ability is mitigated by Weezing, so that way it doesn't have to start off with, basically an 80 base attack and a 50 base speed. It gets the full 160 and 100. It's a bread and butter combo of this entire draft for me. It was my number 1 pick, and it's going to carry me through this tournament, I hope. We're moving down to tier 2s. Tier 2s, we have Hydreigon and Weezing. I'm going to start with Weezing. Weezing has Neutralizing Gas, fairly decent defense, and it has the ability to set up Misty Surge through an attack, not always through its ability. It also can Will-O-Wisp. It has a solid Sludge Bomb, and its idea is just to stay on the field and stop my opponent from getting off what they need to get off to do good. A good example would be my opponent sends out Torkoal. I have Weezing. Torkoal is now just a mediocre Pokemon without an ability and just slightly below average base stats. So that just makes all my Pokemon with higher base stats just all the more appealing versus it. Hydreigon is my elemental coverage pick. So Hydreigon gets a lot of things like Hydro Pump, Flamethrower, Dragon Pulse, Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, things that my team is missing. I am missing an entire fire type. I may end up having to drop something to pick up a fire type. I don't know yet, but we will cross that bridge a little later. Right now, I think I am fine without it. There aren't a lot of fire types other than maybe Blacephalon that I would pick up. But there's not a lot I would drop either. Like, I would have to drop a tier 1 to pick up Blacephalon. And the only option there would be Celesteela, and I'm not dropping her. But back to it, Hydreigon is my solid elemental pick. And I have to worry about its Levitate being neutralized by Weezing sometimes, and that's the only negative synergy I can see on my team, other than Luxray also being eliminated. Speaking of Luxray, my tier 3 pick, it has Intimidate, usually going to carry the Assault Vest, and it's my physical elemental coverage. It has the Fairy move, it has the Fighting move, it has the Electric move, and then it also has Snarl to deal with those pesky special attackers, especially the slower ones. If I had to pick 6 Pokemon on this team, Luxray would probably be in the initial, like, this is the A team. If nothing is completely stopping me, I would put Luxray on the team. My other tier 3 pick is Pelipper. It's pretty straightforward. There's not much else you can do with it other than slap a Focus Sash on it, give it Drizzle, Scald, Rain Dance, Scald, Protect, Ice Beam, Hurricane maybe. Tailwind is an option. But if I do want to run Tailwind, I'd rather use Articuno at that point. Cinccino, Thwackey, and Wigglytuff are my tier 4s. They kind of just do the same thing as the others. They come in, they'll, set up a fake out, or they'll take a buff from a debuff. They're just mini-me's of my tier 1 Pokemon, essentially. I would use Thwackey and Cinccino mostly out of my tier 4 picks if it came down to it, only because Cinccino has that monstrous 115 base speed and the ability to hit Skill Link and hit multi-hit moves 5 times. So a Metronome on it would be good. A Life Orb on it would be good. It's just an overall solid tier 4 Pokemon, in my opinion. That's my team in a nutshell. So my first matchup is going to be against the Boston Blissies. That's going to happen very soon. We see that my opponent has Charizard, Cloyster, Gastrodon, Heliolisk, Hitmonchan, Rhydon, Sableye, Suicune, Torkoal, Trevenant, and Venusaur. Right off the bat, I noticed that a lot of their Pokemon are ability reliant. Gastrodon, Rhydon, Sableye, Torkoal, Venusaur, they're all ability reliant Pokemon. So I have the advantage in the fact that Weezing shuts off a lot of those things, especially the Torkoal and Gastrodon both being really strong things that I shut down. Not really thinking about bringing my Water Core first. I plan on probably bringing the Regigigas, but I'll post that in the next video. Thank you for watching this. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, comment. I'd really appreciate anything you guys can do for me. Once again, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you next time.